Hello guys and welcome back to Hey Manager with me Alex, and today it's our second draft for the FPL team that I'm going to be using in this year's 2024-25 Fantasy Premier League season. So let's get into the action and see who I've put into this side, who's come in, who I've maybe taken out, what I've been doing with the squad. So above me you can see my rankings, my points and rankings I'll be doing this week on week, reviewing the game week, seeing how we've done, seeing who I'm going to bring in, seeing what points I've got, seeing how I've performed, if I've made any good judgments. We'll see as we go on. So let's have a look who I've chosen. So I've gone for Onana in net. Now I think last time round I had Sells and I must have had someone else. I can't remember who I had as a goalkeeper actually. I think I had Flecken in there, Flecken and possibly Sells, or even Matt Turner, but I've gone for a bit more of an expensive option. I think Onana, 9 clean sheets. If you compare him to the other goalkeepers, he actually finished 4th last year, which is, for Manchester United season, Onana finishing 4th is unbelievable. I mean, the amount of saves he made, I think if you look at it here, 149 saves. If you look at it compared to Leno, 134, that's for Fulham. Raya, only 46 saves last year for Raya. I think Onana, he's going to make loads of saves. The Manchester United defence is going to be a little bit leaky, but not as leaky. I think you're going to get Shaw back, and Malacia might actually come back if Shaw picks up an injury 2 months in when they start playing Europa League football. I think Shaw looks very sharp in the Euros as well. Like, you can see him going out for, he's a model sort of player. So yeah, I think if Shaw comes back, you've got Yoro who's going to come in. Martinez joins the back four. Dallow's obviously been very, very good last year, very Mr. Consistent. I think Onana's a good choice, and then Sells next to him. Nottingham Forest have a fantastic first run in. So if Onana has a difficult game, you're looking at the Liverpool game in there. You're probably looking at maybe Spurs, potentially Palace away if United have a bad start, and then Villa away. I'd probably rotate him out with Sells, because Sells, I think in game week 3 they've got Wolves. I think in game 6 they've got Fulham, and then in this game week here they've got Palace, where I think Nottingham Forest could do a shift. So that's our goalkeepers and defenders. So I've gone for a back 5 of fullbacks, of creative, threatening, influencing fullbacks. So Tyrick Mitchell, I wanted a Crystal Palace defender. I didn't really want to go with Guehi. His future's still up for grabs, whether he goes to Newcastle. He could go anywhere else. Maybe Tottenham might pick him up. I don't really know where he wants to go, but Mitchell's Mr. Consistent. He looks pretty good. He got expected goal involvements of 3.66, but got 2 goals and 3 assists last year. They did concede quite a few, but they got 10 clean sheets. That was towards the back end of the season where they played very, very well. Mitchell gets forward. I quite like him, to be honest, and I think he's a cut above the rest in that back four for Crystal Palace. I mean, Anderson's very good, Guehi's very good, but I think Mitchell just stands out for me. Anthony Robinson, I think this is a dark horse. I think you need to get Fulham defenders on your bench, or Fulham players in general, in your side, because I think they're so cheap, and that, to be honest, Fulham have a pretty nice run of schedule. To be honest, if you look at the amount of green you've got in there every other week, every other week you're probably going to get a return, which is really, really good. He only averaged 2.8 points per match last year, which is 47th out of all the defenders. He is actually priced pretty low, considering 77th out of 197 defenders. But last year, if you look at his ICT, now this ICT index, I'll probably have to do a video explaining what it does. Influence, creativity and threat, 158.6. So that's sort of the combined 3 that you can see here, where you've got your influence, your creativity and your threat. I don't think it's the average. I don't know how they actually bring that together. I'd have to have a look at the calculation, but it's an index. It lets you reference that out. So if someone's very, very influential but awful creatively, it'll balance it out and bring the index together. I think for me, Anthony Robinson, he's got to go into your sides. He's so creative. He bombs it down the wing. 6 assists last year. They're only going to get better, Fulham, with the run of games they've got. I think he's great. Leif Davis goes without saying. 18 assists last year in the 48 games, that they play. 46 games that they play in the Championship, which is pretty much a goal involvement every other game, near enough. It's looking at maybe 0.4 goal involvements per game, which is unbelievable. I mean, if you look at this year, you're looking maybe getting 12 assists this year. He does play that left wing type role, but I think if they bomb forward, you've got Amari Hutchinson and Connor Chaplin in behind the striker, which might be Liam Delap. We don't know so far. Ipswich, I'd see probably as a dark horse, to be honest. I really believe in Kieran McKenna and the system that he plays. I think Leif Davis will do great in these run results here. I just want to see how they play against Liverpool, how they play against City. I think they've got a point to prove, and Leif Davis, for me, I think he's a little bit of a dark horse. Then we've got Luke Shaw coming back from fitness, had a brilliant Euros. I think Manchester United, if they can get off to a strong start against Fulham and Brighton, that Spurs game will be an interesting one. I think 6 games in, we'll be able to tell if Luke Shaw's worth the investment. And then Lewis Hall. I think Lewis Hall is a pickup. I've got to admit, he played 8 games last year, got 38 points. Now, Newcastle have a decent start, and they have a pretty nasty run of results, like run of fixtures, should I say, sorry. They've got Man City, they've got Everton away, shouldn't actually be too difficult of a run. But then Chelsea and Arsenal back-to-back is going to be a difficult one for Newcastle. But for Newcastle, if you just have a look at their well, the defenders in general, if you look at this here, so they've got Shah who's going to play, they've got Trippier who's going to play, they've got Burn who's going to play. So they've got the Shah and the Burn probably centre-back partnership. Botman and Lascelles are both injured. The only other one is Lloyd Kelly. Now, will they play Lloyd Kelly? That's the question. That's the only question I've got to ask. Is he going to play at left-back? Or is it going to be Lewis Hall? But Lewis Hall pre-season has been looking pretty sharp. Has been looking very, very good. And I wanted to probably get a Newcastle player in there. It's going to be Botman, but he's injured. I don't fancy Dan Burn in my side. I don't think he's going to pick up that many points, to be honest with you. I mean, I know he's very smiley, but 20.9% of people have chosen him. 6th out of all the defenders. He's not going to get that many goal involvements. So Lewis Hall is my one. He's going to sit on the bench, but Lewis Hall is my one for now. In fact, no, he might actually start, and I'll have someone else on the bench just to replace him in case. But Lewis Hall's going to start for me. Then the midfielders. So we're going to go through this as quick as I can. Odegaard, I wanted to get an Arsenal player in there. I had it as Martinelli, but I managed to find ways to get him into the side. Over the last 2 years, well, 3 years really, his ICT index, 6th out of all midfielders. He is going to get you involvements. He's going to be the key player for how Arsenal tick, as Thierry Henry would say. It's how they tick. Odegaard is so good. He's going to get you goals and assists. Much like Bruno Fernandes, who got the other end, 8.5. I think you're going to bring in a Salah. You're going to have to hope he has one of the wonder games, wonder seasons, because he's not going to pick up assists. I know he got double figures for assists probably in the last 2-3 years, but they're like I don't want to say fake assists, but they are basically fake assists. For FPL, if you hit the post, it comes out, goes to a player, it's an assist. It's not an assist. It just isn't. I think this man, his output is unbelievable. 2nd in the ICT index. He is just lethal. The expected goal involvements last year, he hit it nail on the head. I think for me, this man, he's going to be playing more as a striker role. Haaland's out for a few weeks. I reckon he'll be pushing forward Fernandes and we'll be playing an extra midfielder. I can't see Sancho starting up front. I can't see it happening. I think Fernandes up front, he's going to be one making him tick, letting Diallo probably and Rashford out on the wings come in and get involved with them, playing like maybe as this false 9 sort of situation that people love to throw about nowadays. It's not a false 9. It's basically a shadow striker or like a sitting deep, basically an attacking midfielder letting the inside forwards doing like the dual striker role but starting wide, making the runs inside. So I've got him in there. Smith Rowe, if you don't pick up Smith Rowe, you're a fool. You're an absolute fool. The last time he properly played a season, 125 points. And that wasn't even in a full season. In a full season, you see the minutes played, it's only 1,900. That's like 2/3 of what you would expect a player to play. And he managed to get 125 points. This man was unbelievable. And he's had a few years out of favour the year after. Then he got his injury, didn't get back into the side. He wants to move because he's not going to get the game time. Fulham as well, the dark horses they are. I think Smith Rowe is the best pickup this year, without a doubt. I think he's the Cole Palmer of last year for this year. I think he's going to be going into the 7 millions. He's going to be unbelievable. He's going to pick up the form. And Kunku as well, 6.5 million. Pre-season, been fantastic. I don't think you can drop this man. I can't see how you're going to drop him. Whether or not you put Palmer onto the right and you put Sterling on the left, Madueke doesn't start and Kunku in behind the striker with Jackson up front. If you have Kunku up front, Jackson doesn't play as the 9. I don't really know how we're going to play it, but Kunku for me can't be missed. So good pre-season, and also going to be getting my involvements for Chelsea, who have a great run of games like Ipswich. Fernandes is in there and Hudson-Odoi. I've got to get some Nottingham Forest player in there because their first 10 games is unbelievable. So Hudson-Odoi matches that. Then my strikers. These are my point getters. The people that I think last year the 9 came back. You had inside forwards galore. You had your Salahs, You had Rashfords, you had your Martinellis, your Sakas. Who else was sort of like your midfielders, like your Fodens, who used to play out left a little bit. Grealish, for example. I'm thinking about all these players that, like Sterling potentially a few years back. Your Jotas, everyone like that. Mane was a great, fantastic example. I think we're back to when you had like your Agueros, your Berbatovs, you stick Torres up front, that sort of era. And now you're looking at your Watkins. 50% of people have chosen him. How he cannot say that he's been fantastic over the last few years. Look at that. He's been averaging pretty much double figures for the last few years. And Ollie Watkins is still young. If you look at it, like how many goals is that? 25, 40, about nearly 60 goals in the Premier League. It's undoubtedly one of the better players in the Premier League at the moment, Ollie Watkins, so he's in my side. Haaland is a given. I mean, I think you look at him pre-season, he's had a season, basically a very long summer holiday, where he's been able to just focus, get his mind out that, he's in a bit of a bad place towards the back end of the season where he wasn't really contributing as much. He had a decent few games at the end. I think he picked up a hat-trick, believe it or not, which it makes it sound like it's just bad for him, but he wasn't getting the consistent goals, he wasn't getting points. But now I think, seeing him pre-season, he's looking sharp. And then Isaac, for me, my way into the goals for Newcastle, Alexander Isaac, 21 goals last year. I think he had a decent year when he first came in, 17 starts. I think last year he had a bit of Champions League. It didn't really work out for them. And then when they fell out of the Champions League, you saw Newcastle doing much, much better again. I think without that European football, there's going to be quite a competition for who's going to play in this side. But for me, the forwards, Callum Wilson can't stay fit. I don't think you're going to see him play that much. I think you probably see him being weaned out. And then Isaac's going to start pretty much every game. I think he is. You've got the likes of Gordon, who's going to play on the left, Bruno in there as well. Tonali comes back, and when he comes back, the stability comes back. I think when you get Tonali back on the 1st September, I think that's when you go and get your Trippiers, who's going to be able to bomb forward, because you've got Tonali who's going to cover that midfield just so well. But yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good year for Newcastle again. No European competitions, they can relax. So that's my side. I hope I've covered that off relatively quick. As you can see above, total players 3.1 million. I might set up a fantasy league. We'll see how how we're doing on this. I'd love to get people involved who watch the Hey Manager account, see what we can do there. But for now, that is a pretty good haul. I think if you look at how I've done pretty well. I've got a midfield where Odegaard, Fernandes, I'm looking to try and get as many points from them per week as I can. There's obviously going to be a dark horse. Is it Smith Rowe? Is it Nkunku? Is it Hudson-Odoi? I don't know. But my strikers there, I'm going to be hoping to get returns out of two of the three each week, which is what I'll be wanting. I mean, the midfielders, I need to see who's going to perform well. The midfield for Manchester City, it's Pep Roulette again. I don't know who's going to play, so it'll be interesting to see who does that. The defenders as well, do I go for an Arsenal centre-back? I don't know, but for now, I'm going to stick with what I've got. So, hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy this episode, please leave a like, subscribe if you are new for more stuff like this. I want to try and bring out as many videos like this as I can. And yeah, I hope you did enjoy the video. So, I'll catch you next time. From me, Alex, have a great day. Ciao.